Good morning, good morning, good morning, you lovely, lovely lot. It is 10:17 on Wednesday morning, and I am currently printing out work for Kenzie off of his school online learning. This 10 o'clock start seems to be our new normal, but I'm kind of just going with it, to be honest. This is not normal life, and so we all just seem to be more with it at this time. So I'm not going to fight it. So we're currently printing out these maths question sheets. We've got some humanities to do. We've got the rest of his dance project to work on. Not sure what else we've got. Maths, what is it, love? Maths, humanities, dance, isn't it? That we need to work on. And we're going to watch a movie together, aren't we? We're going to watch a movie together. So that's our plan of action. Don't take them yet, my dear. Easy. Yeah, do they look alright, do they?
Yeah.
Look quite simple. Okay, well we're going to put them in order and staple them together and put them all in our folder. Inspiration taken from Imo and Izzy vlogs, because she home eds as a standard, and I'm getting little tips from her as to how to be slightly more organised. Definitely go watch her vlogs because she's awesome, and they're a really lovely mum and daughter team, who I kind of feel like is my Welsh twin. I don't know, just I can relate to her on many levels. So go check her out if you haven't already checked her out. Right, let's crack on with this. Oh, well, I'm dressed and I'm up, I suppose that's something. I've come to the conclusion that this whole situation is starting to affect me a bit. So in the past, I have had huge anxiety and had to deal with it. I never really dealt with it very well growing up, but I was always a very nervous child, very anxious child. I used to have what they call intrusive thoughts, so things would come into my head, it would upset me, but then they would stay there and I wouldn't be able to shake them off. So anyway, after years and years and years of, well, probably 3 years of finally getting counselling, probably about 6 years ago, I think I probably started that. It made a huge difference. I got to the bottom of things and I had what they call secondary PTSD, which is why my body reacts in ways to things without me really being aware of it. So my body reacts before my brain can put things into perspective. So I get the adrenaline kick, I get the fear, I get everything else. And so I'd lived with that from actually being quite a small child. And by secondary, it's because nothing happened to me, but I saw things on the news. So let this be a lesson to people. My parents were very careful about what I watched and what I saw, but still, if you have a sensitive nature as a child, which I do, or as a person, these things can stay with you. So the news was on in the house and I obviously saw things on the news. And my dad used to leave the newspaper open on the table when he went to work, and inevitably I would come down, and once I was of an age that I could read, I would start looking at things that were on the newspaper and just reading them. And I have key memories of stories I did not understand because I was too young to understand them, and they stuck in my head. And obviously, because I didn't understand them as a child, these things then, my brain was trying to make sense of them, and they obviously scared me or upset me, but I didn't know how to process them and I didn't know what to do with the information. And as I grew older and became more of an adult, my body had already learnt to go into flight mode at certain triggers. So something came on the news, or I saw something in a newspaper while I was stood in a chip shop waiting for my portion of chips, or I heard somebody say something, or a key phrase was used. it would send me into that place of panic and fear and what have you. And I used to think I was a Fruit Loop. I used to think no normal person feels like this. No normal person gets these things stuck in their head and can't shake them. You know, look at everyone else, they just carry on. And I avoided watching things like the news, and we don't have newspapers in the house. But when I used to line my rabbit cage with newspapers that we were given, inevitably I would open up, and you can't stop yourself from, like, your brain reads things. So even though I tried very hard not to read, you know, if you see a word there, your brain has interpreted what that word is without you even meaning to read it, because you are so used to reading. So I would pick up key things and I would see things, and it would trigger it. And that got to the point where then I went and had counselling. And that's when I found out that I was suffering from this secondary PTSD. So it's PTSD with all the effects of PTSD, but it's just the thing itself had not happened to me. So I feel the anxiety, the panic, the adrenaline and everything else as if it had happened to me, because I was young and my body and my brain couldn't process the information that I had picked up somewhere along my childhood, having read newspapers. I mean, our school used to line the painting tables with newspaper before we did crafts. We had piles of newspapers in the sort of alcove at school, and I remember at break times the boys would go through looking for the page 3 models in the newspapers. So, you know, you have access to this stuff no matter how much you try to shield your children. That stuff's out there, isn't it? So yeah, that's a bit of history that some of you probably didn't know about me. Anyway, so my brain functions really well on being busy. It doesn't have time to think and ponder about stuff that's actually not relevant or important. And one of the things I am actually very good at is not panicking about the current actual panicky, disastrous situation. So when Brendan was a baby and my mum was diagnosed with breast cancer, I don't remember feeling panicked. I remember my sister fell apart. I remember she cried. I remember it was the worst news in the world. But in my head, it was like, well, we'll get her fixed. It's like there was no alternative. And she did get fixed. But in my head, even though that was actually something that I should really be concerned and worried about and should actually be mulling over in my brain and getting into quite a state about, I didn't. And that's what I'm doing with this coronavirus. There are real reasons in the world right now that I should be worrying over how long we'll be in lockdown. Lockdown is absolutely the right place to be, but financially and everything else, that could be a problem. And how long will the county and government continue to pay me for the funded children that I'd normally look after? And how long can I live off that reduced income? And then I've got to get my van fixed at some point. So at the end of this, I will need to get my van fixed. Will I have the money to do it? Because it's going to be quite a big bill. And are we all going to survive? Will I still have every member of my family at the end of this? And do you know, those are the things I should actually be quite concerned about. You know, some of the news and info is actually quite bleak. And actually, I am reading the news about coronavirus because I want to know what is going on. It's actually something I want to know. Where are we? What are the latest developments? What's the new info? Have we got a vaccine? All those kind of things. But my brain is not focusing on those. My brain, I've noticed of late, is fixating on really quite insignificant things or things that have been dealt with a long time ago. And the anxiety and adrenaline kicks and feelings and stuff are coming back over poor decisions I've made in the past, and the whole forest school thing. So yes, I've noticed what I'm getting at with this 7-8 minute rant that I'm going on here to you about my history is that although I feel like in the whole I'm coping really well with this, there is clearly some kind of lockdown fatigue kicking in with me. And my brain is starting to go into a bit of self-destruct, and I am aware of that, and I have to be aware of that. And it is starting to try and go over old stuff that it doesn't need to go over, that's been dealt with, and it's trying to give me something to worry about. I don't know why it does it. I don't know why. I've always said it's like a devil and an angel on your shoulder, and you've got the devil going, oh, have this to think about. Wouldn't that be terrible if this happened? And then I've got the angel on the shoulder going, yeah, but realistically, that's not going to happen. Or actually, da-da-da-da. So that kind of goes, it's all okay. You know, let's just work this out into a standard kind of calming, logical way. And then this one goes, oh yeah, but. And unfortunately, this one is the one that has control of the adrenaline rush. So it knows the key things to go into my brain that will then kickstart the adrenaline, which then makes me feel sick, gives my skin a burning feeling and makes all my fingers tingle, puts me into the fear flight mode, which then means doesn't matter what this side says, because it's going in my brain, and my brain is in flight mode. So I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who have suffered with anxiety or do suffer with anxiety who could relate to what I'm saying. But I just thought I would share that with you because it is a realistic part of my lockdown experience. And whilst I've not gone into details about exactly the things that trigger anxiety and exactly what my brain is actually mulling over right now, because that's obviously my private stuff, I do think it's important to share the feeling with you, because there might be others out there who have either not sought help and so don't understand maybe why their brains do that, or think they're going completely loopy, or are just struggling with the whole lockdown situation and starting to get a little bit of that lockdown fatigue in their brains. And I heard a really cool phrase, the corona coaster, which is the roller coaster of emotions that you are starting to feel as time goes on. So the highs and happiness of being not working, being at home, being with your family, having time off, and then the crashing down that you get of what about money, what about work, what about my business, what about the virus and food and all the other stupid little things that decide to come in and attack your brain, and then you come back up on a high again. I'm very lucky that my family are great, and I would normally go to my mum at this point for support, but over the years with all my counselling and everything, Lee's become more in tune to the way my brain works. And I used to hide a lot of it from him, but now he's very much in the loop. And he knows that one of the things I need to do is just talk about something, no matter how much it upsets me. I just need to get it off my chest. And he's really good at that now. So he sat last night and just let me have a cry and just went, right, come on, what is it you need to say? And so I just said everything. And he was like, there you go. There you go. Now, you know, next time, don't leave it so long. But I've tried to explain to him, sometimes until I'm in the panicky space, I don't realise it's affecting me in quite the way it is. Anyway, that was 11 minutes of mental health advice and mental health story for you all. So I'm going to go make a cup of tea and crack back on with homework. One of the things about this whole shopping for food at home, so I'm now obviously getting meat deliveries from the butchers, and I've ordered a few Morrison's boxes. And anything else we need, I'm kind of ordering from Amazon. So I am getting quite a lot of boxes. Now, this is good in some ways because it means that I'm getting rid of stuff and putting it in the caravan, waiting to go to charity or car boot or whatever. But I do feel like a lot of these Morrison boxes come with gel bags. Now, the other ones split, the first ones, which caused the box to be a problem. But actually, you know, they've got this thermal packaging. And I've still got the gel bags from yesterday's order, which was really good. They were much better gel bags. And I hate to throw that stuff away because it's really useful. But I'm going to get such an abundance of this insulation and these boxes. I'm not really sure what to do with them. I think I'm just going to go and put them in the shed for now. But we're going to have a lot of waste, aren't we, from this whole shopping. I just hope that this sort of waste, which is obviously a lot of it is recyclable, but I'm hoping a lot of this waste can be reused for something else, will outweigh maybe the waste that we're not producing in the world, you know, like car fumes and things. Maybe it can offset it in some way. But it is a concern that I've noticed with these boxes I'm now acquiring. Kenzie and I are having a DVD together, aren't we, Kenzie? What are we watching?
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, party time. Can I do a trade on snacks, please? You can have some of my popcorn. And I'd like some of your beef hula hoops, please. Thanks. I'll have some more, please.
Not a lot in there. There's more popcorn in there.
There's not.
Not a lot.
It's the same weight.
No.
No, yours is heavier.
No?
Yours is heavier, yeah? Mm. So I've ummed and ahed about whether or not to film this because it's raw. But this is lockdown, and so I'm going to. I have been very tearful for the last half hour or so. I've tried to shake off the anxiety, and it's not going. And I woke up today thinking I was feeling more positive, and I was. But as the day goes on, it creeps in. So Kenzie and I are going to go and get some fresh air and just walk the short loop. Brendan has agreed to walk to the nearest town with me through the country lanes, which, yeah, we're going on the short walk. Sorry, Kenzie's just getting ready for our walk, which takes about 4 miles. I'm then going to pick up some things for my parents that they needed, drop it off at theirs, and then I've asked Lee to pick us up on the way home. Hi, where are you going?
Get my shoes.
Oh, okay. Don't put them on just yet, sweetie, because they're very muddy. Put them outside the front door. You need socks and a jumper. Sorry, he came in for his stuff. What was I saying? Yeah, so I'm going to pick up some bits they need and then get Lee to pick us up on his way home from work. I think is probably a good idea. It should tire me out. It should encourage some other brain processing, moving forwards and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I just thought it was probably important to, as I'm documenting how lockdown is affecting, that at the beginning of what will be week 6, is that right? I've lost track. I've totally lost track. Must be about week 6 now, the beginning of 37 days now, I believe we're on 37 days. That at this point it's affecting me. Yeah. Right. Shake it off. And a good cry is also important. It's also important. It helps. And my brain has been trying to come up, I think, with reasons for why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. So it throws old stuff that I have churned over and resolved back at me, because my brain's not used to feeling sad without a reason. And I think I need to accept that it's okay to sometimes just feel sad, because that's an emotion. It doesn't always have to be a reason. And then my brain needs to just go, you're actually just feeling sad. Don't try and churn up something from the past, or, you know, something to torture yourself with. So I'm going with that mindset. And my medication is a quick walk now, help Kenzie with his homework, and then another walk in about an hour's time, but a long walk to town, get some bits, meet Lee, come home, have a cuddle. Lammies! Meh. Not talking today.
Nope, just eating grass.
No, not in a chatty mood.
Me.
Meh. No. No one wants to talk to us.
Is that a newer born lamb over there?
Where? Which one?
The one following the white lamb.
Oh, they do look a bit younger, yeah.
Mm.
Right over there. Yeah, they do look a little bit younger.
There's a fluffy one over there.
This one here that's bunting its mum for milk, that's quite fluffy.
Fluffy boy.
He looks a bit older as well.
Mm.
I'm sat in Spog. I've missed my Spog. Not even been able to go for a little drive with him. I'm getting my walking stuff on so that Brendan and I can walk to town. It is going to chuck it down. I can see big black rain clouds. But so be it. I've contacted my counsellor, I've messaged her just to check in. So we'll see what she suggests. What's going on with your new headwear?
I have to have a very straight back.
It's beautiful.
It needs to conform to the curvature of my spine.
Pretty!
And his name is Wiggly Woo.
And his name is Wiggly Woo.
Get over here, Mr. Woo.
There's a worm at the bottom of the garden. Left or right, Mr. Wormy? Should we go? Which way would you go, Brendan?
No, it's equally as horrible.
That way?
That's got more sloshy mud over there.
Come this way, Mr. Worm. There you go.
Gravity.
Worm at the bottom of the garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. Well spotted, Brendan. That there is a pheasant egg.
Looks like something crawled out.
Yep. Hatched, or was attacked maybe, and sucked out. Nutritious! Well, we've made it to the next village. So far, it hasn't rained, and I'm actually sweltering in the amount of layers I decided to put on because it was going to rain. So, I'm glad it hasn't rained. But, yes. I can hear a helicopter, or a Chinook probably is more what I can hear. They can't see it. Brendan, wait for me! With your super long legs. You're all legs. That place there, the new bit, that's been built onto the side of what used to be the pub. In my teen years and my childhood, used to be somewhere we used to walk out here to the pub, have a drink and then walk back again. But yeah, that was the pub. Not anymore. Oh, an ambulance. I am very warm now. Put it in? It is. It's got a lot of veg plots and stuff in that garden. Lots of old cottages. Yeah, that's the old school. That's it. Well, it's that building as well, love. The old schoolhouse and the old school. It's two buildings. Although that to me looks like a school. That there. I think it's called the dairy. little duck pondy thing. Our brook. Right, this takes us through to town. You hear ducks? Or chickens?
I have no idea.
There's a rabbit hole. It's relatively fresh as well. And there's seeds or something down there. What was that? Put your hand in the hole?
Put your hand down the hole and get the furry blighter.
Get the furry blighter? The furry blighter might bite me for intruding in his personal space.
You caught squirrels.
Yeah, I've already been bitten by a furry blighter.
You've already
Tangled with deranged squirrels. A hole in the tarmac. Anybody in? Well, we're about to enter the next town, which is our destination. Just got to walk into the town centre. This is the outskirts of it. Go to Co-op, get some bits, drink of water I think is required, then walk across town, drop the stuff off at my parents' and then wait for Lee to come pick us up. Should be timed beautifully. We've got 15 minutes till Lee finishes work. All being well. Right, we've made it to the supermarket. To the supermarket. You want pizza? You're having burgers for dinner, love. But if you want to carry a pizza for tomorrow, then that's fine. We'll go in the back of the Co-op. So the walk was good. Just under 5 miles. Really helped walk off the sadness and what have you. We saw things, as you'll have seen in the video, and just chatted with Brendan. It was really nice. Lee picked us up, dropped off the bits to Mum and Dad. Just a very quick threw the stuff to them, blew a kiss, and Jackie was there dropping off some food for them, so she was like, hi. So that was nice, just to very briefly see them, then jumped in the car and Lee drove us home. Lee's now doing burgers for the boys. I've barely eaten anything all day on, but I'm like that when I'm feeling down. And I know it's not gluten-free, and I don't care. Got myself a Belgian bun. Have not had one of those in more years than I care to remember. And a cup of tea, which I've just made. Yeah. And I'm running a bath. I'm going to edit this video and get it posted. I'm sorry it's not the usual cheerful vlog that you're all very used to seeing from me. But like I said, oops, this is vlogging the lockdown and the situation, and that should be honest and true in every aspect. And right now, Pip's not the happy bunny she usually is. And I have also managed to get myself an appointment with my counsellor. She was like, you know, I am not surprised. It's a difficult time. You've done really well with how you've progressed, and you know, having a dip is not unusual at times like this. So she's doing a Zoom meeting. So just knowing I've got an appointment with her next week is just easing my mind as well, because it gives me a place that I know I can just go and rant. I think just has that place. Anyway, my bath's overflowing. I'm going to stop waffling now and I'm going to get in the bath. So thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry it's not been the happy bubbly vlog you are used to. Hopefully tomorrow there'll be a bigger smile on my face. So thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you all tomorrow. I think Kenzie might have gone overboard with the bubble bath. There's an awful lot of bubbles in this bath.